So, welcome guys. Wednesday, Salina and myself. I think we went to the same tailors today. Got the same shirts. Unbelievable. They even matched my drinks. Look at that.
Red tea, red
tea.
shirts,
Yeah.
and red plates. It's a red kind of day.
It's a red day. Island is open. I went down there again this week with another guy. He was allowed to go across on the barge, Filipino, but he didn't have a Cabo del Norte pass or QR code. I wasn't allowed to go, so I had to come back. Was I upset? I was pissed. Put it that way. Yeah, it was hot. And the security on that barge are just mental. I don't understand why some people can get through and other people cannot.
Wow.
Maybe I'm showing symptoms of COVID-19 in being angry.
Yeah. That's a new symptom.
But anyway, so
We were just talking about that before we started filming. IATF and the new rules that they came out with for travel, which obviously aren't being followed, right? Which I actually said last week, I doubt this is going to work, that LGUs are going to follow the new rules. Turns out they're not.
no, they're just doing.
They do whatever they want. IATF threatened to file court cases against the LGUs that didn't follow the new harmonized rules. Do you think that had any effect?
No.
No, it didn't.
I think I mentioned this in one of my videos this week, is that if there's one country in the world that can come up with paperwork and put processes in places that they don't enforce, then it's the Philippines.
Yeah. I don't even think that it's going to be worth it to even download the new S-Pass, which we already talked about. Because if you go to any checkpoint or guard,
I don't know what it is.
they're going to look at you like you're an idiot, saying, "Don't wave that in front of me." Put that away. It means nothing to me.
What I've started doing is I've started wearing my pass around my neck like this. Because I found wearing it like this, because I've got a suntan now, when I drive up to a police checkpoint, they think I'm a local Filipino working, and they just wave me through. Before, when they couldn't see this, because this is what they all do here, they all wear it outside.
Yeah.
So I wear this on the scooter, so people look at it and they just wave me through. Because they can see some blue, they can see some bits. They don't stop me. So I'm being stopped less.
Ellie, I think I said this before. Everybody's tired.
Yeah.
We're just worn out from 1 year of rules, lockdowns, quarantines, passes, and this and that.
So there's 650,000 people being infected with COVID-19 in the Philippines. There are around 13,000 deaths in the Philippines. This week, Manila has just gone back into another major lockdown because there's 5,600 people registered new COVID-19. And if they look at any of the information, wherever you are and you start doing inoculations around the world, in Europe or America, you get this increase in COVID-19. because you are giving that drug out into the living space, because you're trying to get that herd immunity. So what have they done this week? Lockdown Manila.
They don't want you to use the word lockdown.
No.
And then they deny that they're actually locking down entire barangays.
Yeah.
It's just localized, certain areas.
Yeah.
And only a few of them, a handful.
Yeah, but that comes from North Manila down to southern Manila to eastern and western Manila.
And Manila is huge.
Yeah.
It's the size of, New York City or London.
And it's got millions of people living there. But,
I think something like 19 million, 20 million.
But they don't like you to turn around and use the word lockdown.
No, and they're not.
So why don't we just turn around and say it's not a lockdown, it's prisoner. It's a pandemic prisoner,
And-
not lockdown.
And despite the criticism that people are saying, there's been no progress. 1 year of this,
Oh, yeah.
and people are calling it back to square one. We're right back to where we started, which is lockdowns are the answer.
Yeah.
The government denies that.
We're not learning, are we?
The federal government says, "Oh, you're wrong. We've learned. We've improved. Things have gotten better." I don't personally. I don't see it.
No. Well, tell that to the 13,000 that are dead,
Yeah,
because they're still dead.
they're still dead. They're not coming back.
They're not coming back, and a year later, we're back where we were when those people died. We still don't have a vaccine. I know that we got Novak coming in from
Well,
India.
we did get a few thousand, the Sinovac Chinese.
Well, yeah, but then, I was reading an article about that guy called...
Free, they donated it.
what's the guy, Sinas? The general of the PNP, who has COVID-19.
Well, so does Roque,
Roque,
presidential spokesperson.
So-
He's got it.
So they've all had the vaccine, and
The entire Philippine Senate is locked down.
no, can't call it lockdown. The Senate are prisoners of pandemic.
Of course, we got typical. They say they've learned, but they're treating just by the sheer fact that their response to the rise in COVID cases in Manila is lockdown, which is what they started with, right? I told you a few minutes ago, the government is treating this virus like it's a law enforcement problem, not a health problem, right? So as soon as they started doing lockdowns, they tell the PNP and the military to go out in the streets and enforce social distancing, which the most stupid thing they did was say, no public displays of affection, no hugging, no kissing, no holding hands.
Yeah, as I said
Get
to
any
you,
more stupid than that?
well, you're not allowed to do it on the street, so they go home and they turn around and go to bed with each other, and then they turn around and start having sex. And then they start multiplication.
Speaking of sex,
You're not actually going to have a terms of affection, and you're not going to be able to. I need to word this really quite cleanly, really, because it's like me and Annie. Me and Annie, we've been living together like for 3 years now, and if we go out on the street and we're told, "Oh, you can't do that," well, is that going to stop COVID-19? If I went to a complete stranger and started hugging and kissing that person in the mall, then I would go, yeah, great, no problem at all. But I don't think the general public are going to go out and start kissing a total stranger. Do you know what I mean? Unless you go on a dating website, and then you might do it.
And they, of course, people are breaking the rules because we're all sick and tired of this.
Yeah.
Right? We've had enough of it.
Well, I think the people.
And if you get approached by the PNP for violating either the social distancing or because now they have a curfew too, right?
Yeah.
They started a curfew. You get arrested. There's thousands of people have been arrested for breaking one or the other. Right?
Well, hopefully that the PNB are actually keeping them social distanced in the cells or in the prison.
Yeah, right. There's 6 feet between prisoners.
Yeah.
I don't think so, right?
No, I don't. I think they're all living in a field somewhere with banana plants.
And then every barangay has their own court. And then actually, there's so many people getting arrested, they're holding court at night out in basketball courts and open areas, right? Because they don't have enough room to bring the people into the courthouse.
So the magistrates and the court people are actually breaking the curfew to get through the workload the PNB are actually putting on.
And they all have their own punishment. Some barangays say, okay, sign this, say you were sorry, bye, leave. Other barangay, well, I had read one barangay sentences you to 3 hours of exercise. They don't say what kind of exercise. Is it sit-ups, push-ups? I don't know, jumping jacks.
Yeah.
But apparently, you're supposed to do exercise.
Supposed to do 3 hours of exercise.
Another one fines you, I think, between 3,000 and 5,000 pesos. And you know the number one reason that people are breaking curfew and so the rules for work. People are out trying to find work and make money.
Well,
In fact, one barangay said most of the people arrested for breaking the rules were truck drivers. And why are truck drivers out riding around breaking curfew? And so they're trying to make money, feed their family.
yeah, I was reading an article this week about the FDI.
In other words, the rules, people aren't going to follow the rules anymore after 1 year.
No.
Because the economy is devastated, it's destroyed. People need to make money regardless of the virus and the...
Yeah. Well, I was reading an article about the FDI. The FDI is a set of rules and regulations that the Philippine government brought in after President Marcos was in power. And the FDI in the Philippines is the most restrictive financial controls in all of East Asia, which means that 10% GDP is going to keep climbing because it's more attractive to go and invest money in, and I found this quite shocking really. People are investing more money in Miramar with a political coup going on with the army than they are investing in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Vietnam has moved up to number 1 in East Asia for overseas investment because its FDI is fairly strict. However, it's very, very open to the rest of the world to turn around and come and invest in it.
This is the article. This is dated March 16th, yesterday, right? Over 2,000 violations of COVID-19 curfew and rules. 1,449 people arrested. Right?
Oh my God.
And then it says under this small right, Philippine Workers Advocacy Group says curfews are not effective in curbing spread of COVID-19. Why? Because the people need to work. They need to make money.
Well, they need to eat.
They need to put food on the table.
Yeah, they're not getting any money from anywhere else.
And this was just the first night of the lockdown. Can you imagine going forward, right? They're just going to keep treating it as law enforcement problem, not a health problem.
Yeah.
Keep locking people down, getting the police out there to enforce the rules and laws.
Yeah,
People are going to continue to break the rules and laws because they need to make money.
It'll be a dictatorship in the Philippines again, won't it? The military coup in Manila, same as Miramar. They'll just turn around and keep...
I said that months ago, didn't I?
They'll just keep locking people down, putting people away in prison, spending millions and millions and millions, turn around policing this when they should be buying cheaper drugs and getting drugs into the social community so people can become immune or they can get an immunity growing against COVID.
Well, and I was going to, earlier, a few minutes ago, I said, speaking of sex, turns out the whole world has lost its libido. Not me.
No,
right?
not you. He's had Sinovac, Sinovan, Novocaine, AstraZeneca, and Pfizer all in 2 weeks.
Well, I'm a one-man army going against the trend.
He is, yeah. He's got more fucking energy than I got, and I'm 5 years younger than him. I don't know, he must go home and have electric plug sockets stuck to his nipples to turn around and keep him energised.
It's this is a story.
He's not drinking Gatorade, I can tell you that.
After a year of lockdowns, homeschooling, social distancing, and stress, sex drives are suffering everywhere. Among both couples and single people. Can we do anything about it? Or would you just have to wait to the end of the pandemic? No, you don't have to wait. I can speak from experience.
Yeah, just go and get Sinovac because it gives you an extra 6 inches on your libido.
The article goes on to talk about how the stress and the fact that people are stuck with each other, and you would think that would encourage people, but no. People are getting tired of each other.
Yeah.
They're getting tired.
I want to go out.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to be stuck with her. Christ almighty.
They did a survey and they said it's almost 50% of people report they have less interest in sex than they did before all this started a year ago.
The thing is that, I mean, I was reading an article I was mentioning to you about Europe. Europe are in this quagmire with van der Leyen. They're all going on about AstraZeneca and all of that. And it's a load of bullshit. The EU are just a bunch of fucking half-wit idiots that should all be taken outside and become farmers.
Right, the whole stink about AstraZeneca. Almost all of the EU now has banned the use of AstraZeneca vaccine.
Because they're talking about blood clots and stuff
all
like that.
Blood clots are killing people.
Yeah, but the thing is,
all the experts, the doctors, the health people are saying it's stupid, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, the thing is, what you have to remember about the EU is they're all blood clots working in the European Hague.
Okay.
Brussels is run by blood clots. Van der Leyen is in there, and she's the biggest blood clot out there. You know, they put her in the presidency. But what I find very, very interesting is Angela Merkel, who has been the president of Germany for 14 years.
And the leader, basically the leader of the EU.
Yeah. She lost 3 elections this week voting for power in her country. So the Left Party came in at number 2, and the Green Party came in at number 1, and Angela Merkel dropped to 3rd as a favourite, because Germany are going to turn around and go to the polls in September, and it looks like Germany are going to have a new president, which means there'll be another person pushing to come out of Europe, because the only person in Germany fighting to keep in Europe is Angela Merkel. But when the people were asked on the survey why they voted against Angela Merkel. Because of their response to COVID-19.
Yeah.
And Germany has only vaccinated 7 million people, and they're using AstraZeneca, and they're using everything else. But the first one was COVID-19.
Now they're not using AstraZeneca.
Yeah, and the second one is immigration and border control. Because Germany have turned around and put their borders up again after 20 years, and everybody turns around and finds that quite wrong, really, because over 20 years people are actually working in other countries, and they go to work and they just drive through the border. Now they have to go and do a border check, take their passport to go to work because they're working on the other side in another country.
So, do you think it's all political?
Yeah, I think what's actually happened
Is
in
this a
Europe.
way? In other words, the EU has found a reason. The most ridiculous reason is most doctors and health blood clots to get back at the UK for not supplying them with AstraZeneca.
Yeah, but the problem with AstraZeneca is the 4 countries that make AstraZeneca are Holland, Belgium, France stopped production when the President Macron in February said that AstraZeneca wasn't any good and he refused to take it. That's what happens when you're a French arsehole. You know that?
Yeah.
Arsehole, Macron. Macron, lose your job, Le Pen comes in, and you're out of Europe. So that means Europe will go down. So what's actually happened is the EU, which has no country, no nationalism, no obligation to anybody, wants to run the 27 states. All the 27 states want to keep their sovereignty. That's like America giving their sovereignty over to the Mexicans, or the Philippines giving it over to North Korea. The people in Europe don't want to give their sovereign rights for France, Germany, Italy, Spain, Portugal, Greece to Brussels, which is the European government, which has no right, none of the people on the EU are elected.
Yeah.
They get given the job by their brothers or sisters or family, whatever.
Tying this into the Philippines, the Phil's government said they're going to accept AstraZeneca. They don't care about the blood clot thing. They're going to get it and use it here.
Well, I think the EU sent 750,000 doses last
Something
week or
like
the week
that.
before.
Yeah.
And they've arrived, but they're not. I don't think they're rolling them out. I think if you're going to get the drugs in the Philippines, you need to roll it out to the people. Don't just keep it in cold storage in Manila,
Well,
because it will go out of date.
I think they announced the other day that actual public vaccination, right? Which I assume that means beyond frontline workers, the important people. They're all the ones that are
Politicians or the police.
Politicians, police, palace guard.
Yeah. The palace cook.
Public is not going to be getting any vaccines until I think they said July.
Right.
They're thinking it's going to be July, which is months away.
Yeah. So that'll be GDP 15%, unemployment. There won't be 2,000 or 3,000 people a night on curfew.
And
There'll be like 100,000.
now supposedly they've identified a new mutant variant virus, and they're calling it the Philippines virus. So
right.
now we've got that to look forward to.
So we've got a UK variant, South African variant,
Brazilian
variant,
and now Philippines variant.
Okay, so the Brazil means having all your hair cut off. That's the Brazil. There you go. That's that one. South African means you eat Djibouti.
Speaking of Brazil, and to add a little humor into this, not to mention it follows the theme of stupidity. I saw this. I thought this was really crazy. I mean, it doesn't. The ridiculous stories never cease to amaze me. Here it is. Brazil politicians cunning plan to fight COVID-19. Spray hand washing gel from planes. You think I'm kidding? That's the story.
So they're going to spray hand sanitizer out of an
A
aeroplane.
Brazilian politician has come up with the idea of using helicopters and planes to spray his town with hand sanitizer in a desperate bid to obliterate COVID-19 infections.
Well, I'm speechless.
I mean, after 1 year, stupidity just is beyond belief.
This guy is actually been voted in as the mayor
Yes.
when he is an anal retard.
Brilliant idea, you think?
Great. Yeah, I'm like, really, yeah. Well, let's send it to the World Health Organization. They can turn around and investigate it for the next 6 years and see whether it works.
You know, my suggestion to him would have been, call the Israelis. They're the only ones that seem to have this thing under control and are really got a handle on vaccinations.
Well, because they're not listening to any bullshit from any government, are they? Just going out and doing what they're doing. They're not doing lockdown. They turn around and say, you've got to have a mask, you've got to have a face shield, go to this clinic, get yourself your inoculation, and go from that. Everything else, every other country, especially Europe, I mean, Europe, it's mind-boggling that how, you know, inept all of those
show you how
people are.
good the Israelis are at this. They've now got a nose spray that kills the virus. Forget pills, forget shots. Israelis have invented a nose spray that kills COVID-19.
Unbelievable. They've just got on, they've just done it, and they just turn around and
it has completed successful British trials that it works. I'll take it.
Yeah, I know. I think the thing is that people are talking about COVID and will you do it, or will you take this, or will you do that, or will you... The thing is, at the end of the day, it's here. It's 12 months down the road. It ain't going away. Countries keep... I mean, I was reading an article this week about what's it called? A circuit court judge in New York, okay? Turned around and told a hospital that they had to give this woman ivermectin. They gave her ivermectin. Within 48 hours, she walked out of the hospital. She's 82 years old. She walked out of the hospital and went home. She went to her local hospital because she was staying with her family in New York. She went to her local hospital, and the local hospital said they wouldn't give her the ivermectin. They put her back into a ward because she tested positive, and she started to get worse. They were giving her the placebo and the other stuff that she was supposed to have.
Right.
And her son went back to the court, and the court ordered that hospital to turn around and start issuing ivermectin, and these were the results. They then turned around and started issuing ivermectin, and she recovered once again. So she was recovered twice in the case of 30 days. So she's back home now, and she gets prescribed ivermectin at home, and her family are really, really happy. But why does it take a circuit court judge? And I don't understand the political... I don't know what a circuit court judge is to me. It was just what I read on Google. For me, you don't get circuit court judges in the UK. You get, High Court, and you get magistrate, and that's what you get.
Well, you're talking about what country? The U.S.?
It was in the U.S. It was New York.
Oh, well,
Circuit court judge. I didn't understand it.
There's in the U.S. The laws are generally applied at different levels of government, right? So you've got local government, which is the city and the county. Then you have state government. Then you have the federal government, right? So basically 4 levels.
Yeah.
And they all have certain laws. They overlap, of course, and all this stuff. But anyways, judges are assigned according to their work. Their city courts prosecute the city great or city violations of,
Right.
of law. Same with county courts. Same with state courts. Well, circuit judges fit in this area where different laws overlap, and they can be tried in different courts because of that overlap. In other words, they don't fit in specific areas.
Okay.
City, county, state.
So they'll
have a circuit court to take care of those types of violations or
Right.
criminal acts or whatever. And judges are assigned to the circuit court, right?
Right.
That's their job. They handle that particular area of
expertise.
yes.
Now I understand that. So this judge actually told him to do this, and he went back. And this judge, he wrote something. He was absolutely dumbfounded that the medical staff in this other city weren't following the guidance that was given by the previous hospital. So he then turned around and took on that hospital and turned around and said, "You will follow that." And the doctor says, "We don't have to follow that." And then somebody further up the line turned around and said, "He is a circuit court judge. You will follow
Right.
the decision that he has made. You won't defer it to somebody else." Anyway, this woman's on the well, and this was ivermectin. So there's a group called the FCCC in America, and they are doing loads of research and testing on this ivermectin at the moment. And there is a website called Trial Site that gives updates every day on this ivermectin and bits that are going on.
Yeah.
So the World Health Organization, it was read this week about ivermectin, about COVID, and the woman in there turned around and said the reason that it's not being considered is because the financial implications that governments have committed to with Pfizer's, Johnson & Johnson and all of these other pharmaceutical companies, whereas with the ivermectin it doesn't warrant a patent or its licensing has expired, it's been around so long. However, it's still effective. So now they're reviewing that, the World Health Organization, which I think is good. They should turn around and do something about it, because it is a drug for third world countries that could be used. Peru, Zimbabwe, I think it's Nigeria, are actually using it rather than buying the vaccine because they can't afford to pay $50 a shot. You can buy 200,000 pills for around $2,000, which 2,000 pills is 2,000 people. So anyway, not to worry. What are you looking down there? What have you got now?
I wanted to briefly get into international news, positive news.
Not the stupidity.
We'll get away from the stupidity and the rants that we've been going on
Yeah.
about for the first 30 minutes or so, right?
Sorry guys, but it does become difficult
Yes.
to live in a bubble, to live in a cell, and government not do well. Say they're doing something, but it's taking so long.
Living in the country that has the strictest lockdowns of any, the longest lockdowns of any.
And we're back to square one.
And well, the government denies it, but we are back to square one.
Yeah.
And we were talking a little bit ago about how everybody's tired of it, and even the security guards are tired of it, and everybody's getting lax about the rules, getting into the malls and all that, QR codes, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Only when you try to travel is it a problem.
Yeah.
But locally, if you stay in your town, in your city,
Yeah, you're right.
locally everybody's sick of it. We're fed up. We've reached the
If
end.
you travel, they think you're going to bring your COVID-19 in your bag.
Infected bag man.
Yeah, there we go.
So, Israel says they're opening up to tourists April 15th. International travel to Israel, if you're vaccinated, right?
All right.
So, and I've talked about this many times before because I'm the positive guy and I want international travel to open up.
Yeah.
Especially by September when I have to travel. It seems like July is becoming the
epicenter,
the month that a lot of people are looking at. Remember, I did a deal last week about Thailand is trying to push from October 1st to July 1st. Well, turns out Australia and Singapore are pushing for a July travel bubble.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which is good news.
Yeah.
Especially with Australia, because they've been kind of strict.
Yeah.
Turns out also, it's a country that we never talk about and never hear about, Vietnam.
Right.
Vietnam. Vietnam could open to tourists by July. It says Vietnam said could open its borders to vaccinated foreign tourists in July, according to experts. Vietnam Weekly News, the Department of Tourism is considering July as the opening date.
All right.
That's good news.
I think that's good. I mean, I've written an article this week that Cathay Pacific have banned all flights coming into Manila for the next month because they've tested 5 COVID-19 cases in Hong Kong from a Manila flight.
Remember last week I mentioned China was trying to cut deals for foreign travelers, international tourism. With the United States, they were actually talking to the U.S. about it. Now this week China says they will relax foreign travel restrictions for those with proof of taking Chinese vaccine. Not the Pfizer, not the Moderna, not the AstraZeneca, the Chinese Sinopharm, Sinovac, right?
Yeah. So
in other words, you're going to get preferential treatment if you can prove you've been vaccinated by a Chinese vaccine.
Yeah.
Well, didn't we talk about how the efficacy of the Chinese vaccines is
50%.
50%, the worst of any of the vaccines?
Yeah.
Yet China prefers people that have had it if you're going to travel there.
Unless there's
there's the story.
Is there a political stance on that they will then turn around and blame the country that person came from for bringing COVID into China? So you've had the COVID-19 jab, which is a Sinovac or Sinopharm. But when you come in, they turn around and say, "Oh yeah, but you're testing positive and you're coming from Vietnam or you're coming from America. You're infecting the Chinese."
This actually favors the Philippines because right now that's what they're distributing is the Chinese Sinovac vaccine right now because it was donated free by the Chinese to the Philippines. And they're expecting more. So actually,
I don't know when.
well, sure, if you listen to the government, it's the end of the month, it's early April, but that doesn't mean that's when it's going to show up.
No, well, they've got the vaccine. What they don't have is they don't have the needles to administer it. They're waiting for the needles to be made.
They've got the speeches that say they're going to get the vaccine.
Yeah. Well,
they just don't have the proof.
They've had a year to work on those speeches.
Yes.
No.
Trust me, they're working on more speeches for when they don't get it.
Yeah, power to the people. Life in Davao, as we know it. Anyway, not to worry.
You know, we're getting back to ranting again.
We're there.
I'm trying to be positive here, people.
Yeah. I'm dragging him down.
There we go. But thought this was interesting. You've heard about the side effects of taking the vaccines, right? The shots, where you feel hungover, your arm swells up.
You end up with an erection.
Yeah, but that's Chinese Sinopharm. An advantage to that one. It doesn't matter that it's 50% effective.
It's 100% effective down here. There we go. Yeah, so you got a swollen arm, yeah. Well, that's
now they've said you can get what's called parosmia.
What?
Parosmia. Bad breath.
Oh, halitosis.
Rancid smelling aftermath of COVID-19 vaccination. Increasing number of patients suffering from a strange condition after recovering from COVID-19. It's called parosmia. It's leaving patients with a bad breath that smells like rotten food or rotten animal carcasses.
Unbelievable.
So you got that to look forward to.
Yeah.
You get hungover from getting the vaccine.
And you end up with bat breath.
Dead animal breath.
My mouth smells like a cow's ass. Oh dear me. Anyway.
So as we reach towards the end of our last episode,
yeah,
we should probably briefly promote our new channel,
What's the new channel called?
Well, it's tentatively titled Sand Art Shorts.
Yeah.
But I think it should have a subtitle also.
Yeah.
Which, since our first episode, we're already talking about, it's going to be government stupidity. Government, and not, we're worldwide. We're going to cover all the governments.
Right. So what's going to happen is next Wednesday, if you've got this far throughout to do this vlog, we're going to be moving. I'm going to set up a new channel. My channel's going to stay as it is, Gary Neal, Davao City 8000. That's going to be motor vlogging, that's going to be down to drones, travelling, food, and my life here in the Philippines. But me and Selina are going to do another channel, which is going to be about looking at the world as we see it here in the Philippines.
Right. And as somebody once was quoted as saying, never underestimate the power of human stupidity.
There we go. So what I'm going to ask you guys, and Selina doesn't know this, you guys out there, you come up with a title for this new channel for me and Selina. Yeah.